I decided to do Empower because on the last day of the sign up, Jeannie stood up there and she said, if you're gonna do something for yourself, let this be it. So I did that. At that moment, it was the pinnacle of a lot of things that I wanted to go my way weren't going my way in life. And I was just like, fine, I'm just gonna do this and it's gonna be for me. And there was absolutely no expectations going into it. It wasn't all at once. If anything, my actually first day at Empower, I wasn't happy. Like, I was exhausted. I'm up and I don't have enough coffee in me. And the actual first meeting that we did at the end with the group actually was really bad. It reinforced lies that were in my head. The lies that I grew up with was damaged, broken, not enough, and not worthy. The women I was in the group with, they all got to talk about their story and where they came from. And at the very end, the one mentor looked at my time and she said, okay, you have about 10 minutes, see what you can do. You know, and while everyone got like half an hour, 40 minutes, so I felt like rejected already. The anger, resentment, and pain all came from my childhood. So there was 5 of us girls and I was the youngest one. And I dealt with my father's drug and alcohol use and abuse in the family. Growing up, becoming a teenager, being a little bit more rebellious, I started putting up more and more walls. And I just felt like if somebody that's supposed to be my father, my parents, if they can hurt me and they can do this, I couldn't imagine what someone I don't know could do. I almost feel like I had a certain personality that I was putting on a front, like a certain face that a lot of people didn't know the true me, the more shy, the more reserved, because it was easier to just be a little bit more out there. It was easier to be a little bit more boisterous and loud. To me, it wasn't the real me, so I wasn't gonna get hurt. It was a struggle to believe that God was just and holy, you know, the Father. I would see things that go on in my life or other people's lives that I felt didn't deserve the pain and didn't feel like anything was being done. And that kind of reminded me of my own childhood. What changed was one of the last books that I read. It was called Surrender to Love. And that was my least favorite book because every single word in there was love, love, love. And I didn't realize that the word love was such a trigger for me. It was very annoying to read it. It must have been 1,000 times it said love. But then we go on and we process it and we write our papers. And all it took was for me to just say, I believe it. And then once I just said that I believed it, it's like I started to see where God was every single moment, whether it be when I was a child or when I was a teen, throughout my life, even in Empower, I started to, like, my eyes were open to where He was there for me. I feel I've always had an issue with women. I felt like I could never trust them. Because when you're a woman, you know, when you're talking, you're really exposing like the true you. And with guys, you can kind of put up a front and it's fine because guys are just guys and they're easy. And with women, we know when the other one's lying or we know when they're being fake. It was one woman in particular that kept pursuing me like God would, you know. She kept pursuing a relationship. She kept pursuing heart-to-hearts with me and having her there. It was like it was like having a mom. It just really helped establish my relationship with the other women. And so I started to accept the love of other women as well. How I feel now, how I feel I've changed is I'm not as guarded. I'm thankful to have everybody around, but I don't put this burden on others that I did before. I allow them to just be them. You know, sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. I feel like even with my own family, with my husband and son, I see them even more amazing than I did before. 2 days before Empower ended, I got a voicemail from my dad, and it sounded a little belligerent, like normal, but unlike what I would normally do of putting a wall up and just ignore the phone call like I hadn't gotten it. I actually was on my way to the store, and I made it a point to give him a phone call right back. He's normally met with, once I called back, you want to talk to your mom? And I'll usually say yes, but this time I said no. Like, I really just wanted to talk to him. And we were on the phone for over half an hour, and I was walking throughout the store trying to hold back tears because this same man that's hurt me, hurt my son, hurt my husband, my family, I just didn't have that resentment anymore. Each time I said I love you, I meant it with each question I asked him, and it was like seeing him in an entirely different light. And when I was driving on my way back home from the store, it had occurred to me that he didn't have to ask for forgiveness because I had already forgiven him, and that I know wasn't me because I wouldn't have done it on purpose. It was like something changed inside of me that desired that. And I remember having this dream. I was talking to Max, and in the dream I was telling him how it's not so much a theological thing anymore. I was like, it traveled to my heart.